Chapter 10. The next day, after morning parade, I reported to Moses. He was in his store with a little posse around him. Corporal Ofalua, Corporal Sedge, and Lance Corporal Ardingly were there too, lounging on an assortment of chairs.
"Master Hare, good morning,"
Moses said with his bare grin.
"Do you know how to operate a coffee percolator?"
I nodded. Moses pointed in the direction of an elderly cream-coloured machine, the kind with a built-in hot plate.
"We drink real coffee here. The filter papers are in the top drawer. Make sure that pot never runs dry."
He motioned at the other men.
"Your compatriots, Offie, Wers, Ardy."
Only Ofalua smiled. In fact, he stepped forward to shake my hand and reminded me of a crocodile. He was jagged-toothed and enormous. Wers stayed where he was and nodded. I nodded back timidly. Wers was squat, dense, and had a few missing teeth. If you believe the rumours, he was utterly unkillable, the last word in any bar fight in the area. Ardingly was a painfully ugly young man about my age. He looked sick, very pale with a weak chin and an Adam's apple like he'd eaten a ping-pong ball. He looked like an old painting of some 15-year-old who died of consumption in the 1600s. I didn't like the look of him, and I didn't like the fact that he was the same age as me.
"We begin with visiting hours,"
said Moses.
"Anything you see for the next 120 minutes happens under a code of discretion and honour. It must never be repeated of outside this room, under pain of more pain."
Right. For 2 hours, a procession of soldiers came steadily to knock at Moses's door and ask for favours. Moses sat in his chair and received them, Offie at his right, Wers opening the door and Ardy taking notes. Everyone drank coffee, lots and lots of it, which I was glad of since it was my one job. I handed them brews made in chip mugs that said things like, "Exercise Swabian Lance, Osnabrück 92. Otherwise, I tried not to attract attention. "Good morning, Staff."
"Good morning, Miss Perkins."
Lance Corporal Perkins in her British Army issue sports gear. She was known as a tracksuit soldier, someone so good at sport that she basically did nothing else, released from all military duties to train and compete in inter-service events. She was also known for her relentlessly heavy drinking. Weird for an athlete. "I need to borrow money again."
"Neither a borrower nor a lender be. But Polonius didn't know everything," observed Moses. "Sort the details with Ardy."
The next visitor was Corporal French, the unit barman. He came to bring Moses money. It seemed to be a share of the takings from the bar. Weird, as our unit bar sold drinks at basically cost price, and any profit was supposed to go back into the regimental funds to buy things like squadron t-shirts and netball uniforms.
"I'm not stealing from the unit, young Simon," Moses growled, looking at me as if reading my mind. "The bar happens to sell a few unofficial items that I supply. Cigarettes, toasties, and Moses's special punch."
Then came Sergeant Turner, one of the many seniors who swaggered around camp without it being clear what his actual job was. I was surprised to see that even sergeants came to Moses.
"I need some tents for my brother's wedding."
"You haven't settled your debts from our poker game last month, Mr. Turner."
Turner put his feet up on the coffee table and clicked his fingers at me.
"Make me a brew, Nobber,"
he commanded. Moses was shaking his head.
"Stay there, Hare. Make him one of my special coffees, Mr. Ardingly."
Ardy put his clipboard down and took the mug from my hand. Turner was lighting a cigarette.
"Some tents, you say?"
said Moses, his voice almost a purr.
"Speak. Speak on, Macduff."
Ardingly placed a steaming coffee on the table.
"Two 18x24s and a 12x12, Turner said. "It's going to be some kind of barn dance. Hay bales and tents and square dancing and shit."
"Well now, doesn't that sound delightful?"
asked Moses.
"Perhaps something could be arranged, once you've paid your gambling debts. There will also be a modest rental fee in advance."
Turner burped, having already drained his mug. It was a source of constant amazement to me that most seniors had asbestos mouths. Of course, a lot of them chain-smoked, drank coffee constantly and had at least a bi-weekly curry, so I guess it was fairly amazing that they could taste anything.
Yeah, about that. I've been thinking.
That seems unwise.
The CO busted that game, so I reckon all debts are void.
Do you now?
In fact, I think you should give me the tents for free and all. There's plenty else I could tell the CO about.
He burped again. I'd always thought of Turner as intimidating, but now in the cool vacuum of the storeroom he seemed a bit reduced.
I fucking know things.
You're as thick as Tewkesbury mustard. But I will say this. You got some fucking minerals to come into my store.
Turner's voice was gruff, but it was nothing like as deep as that of Moses, who spoke so low that occasionally his words caused the metal shelving to resonate in the long corners of the room. Turner suddenly looked uncertain. I'd never seen a senior look scared. It was a bit like seeing a teacher cry.
You put your feet up on my table and you try to blackmail me? Me?
Listen, Moses, I'm sorry, okay? Let's go up to the mess and have a bit of tea and toast there, mate.
Here's my suggestion, Turner. You fucking cunt!
Moses leaned forward.
Run. Run to the mess, lock yourself in your room, and shit your fucking brains out.
What?
Enjoy that coffee, did you?
Turner looked at the coffee mug.
You didn't.
You just drank an entire box of full-strength laxatives. Was it nice? Your lovely milky coffee.
Turner stood up, and there was a moment when I thought he was going to launch himself at Moses. He didn't move, but Wurs smiled, and in the face of that smile, Turner had some obvious second thoughts. There was a gurgling noise from his belly.
Oh, fuck!
He wailed. Corporal Ofalua returned and laid a key on the desk. Moses steepled his fingers.
The squadron toilets are now locked,
he said pleasantly.
I do hope you shit yourself on the way back to the mess.
Turner was lurching out of the door. I watched him leave, open-mouthed.
That will do for today, said Moses. Tell the others to come back tomorrow. Go away now, gentlemen. Hare?
Yes, Staff?
Come back at 13:30.
Thank you, Staff. We left. Corporal Ofalua switched off the strip lights, leaving Moses settling onto the armchairs, drawing a combat jacket over his body like a blanket. His voice came to me in the doorway.
Go back to your room.
I went back to the block and thrilled at doing it. I made a cup of tea and sat on my bed. I was breaking squadron rules and obeying a direct order. Life was getting interesting. Chapter 11. Welsh. Private Welch went to knock on the door of the RCMO's office at 15:30 in the afternoon. Unusually, the door was closed, and Welch could hear voices coming from inside. Without so much as a pang of conscience, she applied her ear to the door and began to listen to the conversation.
Right, champ, 2 sugars, is it? Neato, National Army tea order?
Oh, aye, sir, absolutely. Cheers. It was the voice of Scouse Greaves. Welch rolled her eyes at the hypocrisy. She, clever, capable, female, got treated like a cross between a stripper and a moron. Meanwhile, Scouse, male, muscular, and not overburdened with brains, was getting made a cup of tea. A privilege so rare that despite having probably seen 10 soldiers that day, she could hear Major Jones rooting around in the cupboard to try and find another mug.
Sit yourself down, champ, eh? Let's chew the fat a bit, and I can stop doing all this fucking paperwork.
Cheers, sir, said Greaves casually. Welsh knew that Major Jones called Greaves champ because he erroneously believed that he was in the boxing team. Greaves wasn't in the boxing team. Also, he was too vain to take sugar in his tea. Not that he pointed it out.
So, you getting any good pussy at the moment, Scouse?
Welsh could hear Greaves laughing. She knew from the tone that it probably wasn't a totally genuine laugh, but she also knew enough about him to know he probably loved Major Jones. Where she saw a misogynistic dinosaur, Greaves saw a custodian of an amazing time called the good old days, when the beer was cheaper and it was okay to slap the secretary's ass on the way through HQ.
To be honest, sir, I just went to see the doc with a bit of trouble downstairs. Been putting it about too much, if you know what I mean.
Got a dose, eh? Good for you, mate. We've all had it. I had the clap from some badger whore in Kenya once, little bitch. Still, managed to spread it around a few wives before it got noticeable.
Nice one, sir,
said Greaves. Welsh felt sick. But listening to this was like watching a car accident. She couldn't bring herself to drag her ear away.
What do you mean, badger, sir? That a tribe or something?
Jones let out a fart like someone had burst a wet paper bag.
Keep calling, sir, we'll find you, he said automatically. You don't know my special system then, Scouse?
No, sir.
This is just for you. I'm trusting you with my special system because you're a good lad, but this goes no further, all right?
All right, sir.
You and I both know the army's gone to shit, he continued. Take you, for example. In the good old days, a top lad like you would be a corporal by now.
Welsh could just about imagine how hard Greaves must be nodding on the other side of that door. The only thing bigger than his muscles was his ego.
No, we've been overrun by the fucking Rainbow Parade. Can't so much as call someone a snowflake without getting a red card from Mary Whitehouse. So, I created my special system. What's any regiment got loads of?
Uniforms?
Guessed Greaves.
Vermin, answered Jones sourly. All camps are overrun, just like the army itself. So that's what terms I use. I don't say those dirty shirt-lifting homos shouldn't be allowed. I say there's a lot of filthy moles digging up this camp. You get it? 'Cause you can slag off moles as much as you fucking want, can't you?
Fucking clever that, sir. But why moles?
Because they're uphill gardeners. I got one for everyone. Bunnies for the girls 'cause of Playboy. That's all they're good for. Rats for packies, ducks for chinks, badgers for the knick-knocks.
Welsh knew that Scouse Greaves was actually part black. She'd met his grandma, who was a lovely Trinidadian lady. But he was pale-skinned enough that it wasn't obvious, and he kept his head shaved, so his curly hair didn't come through. For the first time ever, she wondered if he did that on purpose.
Work's a treat, Scouse, said Jones. Best thing is, there's nothing they can do about it. I'm going to make sure those rats and moles stay in their place, and the good lads like you get ahead.
Good to know. As a matter of fact, that's why I'm here. I wanted to get on that drill course.
I think it's oversubscribed if I'm honest, but don't worry. Some spawny wazzocks paperwork will get lost, if you know what I mean.
Nice one, sir,
said Greaves. Chapter 12. I went back to Sea Squadron stores after lunch and found Moses sat alone on the floor with a huge pile of parcels.
Ah, Master Simon,
said Moses companionably. He indicated a section of floor.
Pull up a seat. Glad you're here, he said after a while. Offie and Words are running errands and RD works in the main QM's department. I need someone to help me with all this shite.
He indicated the piles of parcels. What are they, Staff?
Parcels to non-BFBO deployments,
said Moses. I must have looked blank. I didn't know what he was on about.
Places without military post offices, he explained. When guys and girls are sent places they can't get mail, they'll have one send it to the regiment instead, and we check it for contraband and prohibited items, and it goes via freight. A driver will take it to them next time they get a resupply.
So what do I need to do, Staff?
Just open each parcel and look for food, glass, aerosols, big fuck-off hunking knives, or articles that might offend cultural sensitivity of the host nation.
Like what?
Gay porn,
said Moses promptly.
I mean, there's a proper list for each country, but mostly it boils down to gay porn. Personally, I think people should be allowed to get their rocks off however they want, as long as they don't hurt anyone. Hath not a Jew eyes? Hath not a Jew hands?
Shakespeare?
Very good.
Well, you did quote Shakespeare a few times when I last saw you, Staff.
All things are in Shakespeare, Master Hare. If you don't read it, you'd better fucking start. Shakespeare, my lad, will teach you how to live.
My knowledge of Shakespeare was mostly limited to being made to watch a video of Romeo and Juliet at school. Still, I tried. Yeah, it's Merchant of Venice, isn't it? One of my teachers was Jewish, and I remember he got it banned from the curriculum because he said it was bigoted.
Well, your teacher was a cunt,
said Moses bluntly, applying a tape gun to a cardboard box.
It's satire, like Lear, Othello and Titus. How are we supposed to deal with the ugliness of the world if we can't confront it in fiction?
I don't know, Staff.
Shakespeare gives us a head start.
Yes, Staff. Oh! I had found a porn mag. It had thin, glossy pages and a fat woman squatting on a tractor wheel, next to a caption that said, "Farmers' wives reveal filthy true stories." Moses laughed.
Fuck me, a jazz mag. Talk about old school. Who's the parcel for?
Sergeant Smith, Jaywick, Brunei, I read aloud.
Oh, smudger, said Moses with a chuckle. That explains it. He wouldn't know what a hard drive was if Bill Gates gave him lessons. Here you go.
He picked up a copy of Soldier magazine from a small stack on the floor. Soldier magazine was the British Army's official publication. Basically full of propaganda, telling you what a brilliant time you were having in the army and how all the latest equipment you were using was state-of-the-art. Most soldiers seemed to mainly read it for the letters page in which you could anonymously send in complaints and have them not quite answered by a senior army officer.
Stick it in there,
said Moses, opening the magazine at a random article. I did, and he closed the covers and put the whole thing in Smudge's parcel with a wink.
Come on, Mr. Hare. I chose you for your obvious intelligence and witty repartee, said Moses. It's fucking boring doing this. I'm relying on you to keep me from hanging myself by the sandbags.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Staff.
Of course, once upon a time it was a more interesting job. But again, alas, the days when people send saucy Polaroids to their sweethearts have been overtaken by the digital age.
Yes, Staff.
Do you have a girlfriend? Or boyfriend by a curious non-binary menage a trois pillow with a hole cut out or particularly attractive sheep in the Welsh hills?
No, Staff.
Nothing?
Moses asked in some surprise. Well, no. He sucked his teeth.
Having some trouble in that department.
There is a girl I like, but she doesn't really like me back.
Tale as old as time. Too wise to woo peaceably, Master Hare,
Moses said in his deep, sarcastic voice.
May I offer you some advice?
Yes?
Best thing you can do, he said with a dramatic pause, is marry someone you really fucking hate.
Sorry, Staff?
Love, you know, all that fades. But honest white-hot fury of hate, that's a slow burn. Marry someone you despise. Because nothing, absolutely nothing will make you work harder than a marriage than the knowledge that without a doubt you're making that person who you hate more miserable with you than she could ever be with anyone else.
Oh, that's different to some of the previous advice I've been given.
Just get out there and start living. Don't be afraid to take risks. Life is risk. To be or not to be. Get fucking. Don't marry someone you just met. Don't fake your own death. Don't be scared of fancy dress. And,
He paused. Yes, Staff?
Don't kill yourself,
he finished hoarsely. Later, in another parcel, Moses found a bottle of mouthwash. He unscrewed it, smelt it, grinned, and screwed the top back on. I stared.
What?
Well, isn't that a bit unsanitary?
You try,
he said, passing over the bottle. I know what Listerine smells like, Staff.
Fucking smell it.
I did. It wasn't Listerine.
Schnapps,
said Moses.
There's no military deployment ever where soldiers don't try to get alcohol smuggled out.
Really?
Oh, fucking right. I've done 18 years, my young friend, and I've seen the lot. When I was in the Gulf, the fashion was to siphon the windscreen wash out of the vehicles and drink it with Coca-Cola.
Ugh.
Is right,
agreed Moses.
It's got pre-added antifreeze and all kinds of other shite in it. But when you're stuck in a living hell in the sand and you think you're going to die, that sweet release, boy, that's all you want.
That's mad.
Don't even get me started on prison vodka. I've seen squaddies scraping thousands of fucking leaves just to get enough yeast to brew poutine. I've seen them get pissed by drinking water. Just by drinking water. Imagine.
Is that possible? Moses shrugged.
Oh, you have to drink about 18 litres. Till your kidneys flush. Until the salt levels in your brain are so dangerously fucking low that you're about an hour from death. Gets you nice and pissed, that does. A little hyponatremia.
Insane.
Insane is what they expected us to deal with without it. Albanians lying dead at the side of the fucking road, Milosevic's men raping little girls, organ theft, babies dead, people shooting at you from some half-finished building. Then when you return fire, you realise it's some fucking 12-year-old child with a rusty old Lee Enfield they probably got off the fucking British.
He was crying. I tried to think of the right thing to say. His expression didn't really change, he just sat there still as a few tears rolled down his cheek.
Sorry,
said Moses. I'm sorry, I said back.
Oh, it's a grand old life in the regulars,
he said, laughing bitterly.
You see, Master Hare, I had a friend once. Fuck me, but you look the spitting image of him. The absolute fucking spit.
Moses began absent-mindedly stacking the magazines, his eyes on the past.
When I got to my first regiment, Hare, you didn't get a room to yourself. Shit, you didn't even get a room between two. It was 4-man rooms if you were lucky, and a dormitory full of bunk beds if you weren't. The amount of short courses I've done, or I come back to some sweaty Herbert asleep in my bunk too pissed to find his own. And it wasn't the era for a gentleman of my swart colouring to be in the service. Black Devil was the least of what I used to get called. The very fucking least.
I shook my head. Still, Moses continued after a moment of staring into middle distance.
I had a friend. And boy, I can't tell you what it's like to have a friend. Love without retention or restraint, as Antonio says in 12th Night.
He stared at the parcels as if seeing them for the first time.
The fuck was I saying?
You had a friend?
His name was Cy Collingwood. And he was an evil fucking demon spat out of Southern Ireland. He shouldn't have even been in our army except he'd got naturalised. White, but fuck me, his family was poorer than mine, by a factor of about 10.
If you're the devil, guess that makes me an angel, he used to say. A guardian angel.
More like a fucking biblical leper, I used to tell him. Simon the leper. His family was so poor they kept an onion on the grate, and when the village priest come round they'd chuck a slice on the fire, so it seemed like they'd had a meal. A hot meal. Meanwhile 10 kids are eating porridge out of half a tyre they dragged in from the roadside. You imagine that tyre-flavoured fucking porridge, made with water. Fastest eater gets a bellyful. That's some Dickensian shit right there, Master Hare, and this was the 80s.
Unbelievable, I murmured.
2 rejects in Her Majesty's Army. So one day we decide to take a room. Bit of a culture of fear in the regiment in them dark days. Someone might get you. So one night, dead of fucking night, we kicked in the door of the 2 weakest Lance Jacks on camp, in full Romeo. He meant dressed for a chemical attack, with their gas masks on and coveralls impregnated with charcoal. We got a heavy couple of fucking black torches. We nicked them out of the guard room. We flash them right in the fucker's eyes and I shout, "This is your reckoning and we're the stormtroopers of death." And we beat the fuck out of them.
Fuck.
3 nights we do this,
says Moses grimly.
And these boys, they try everything. They get other lads in to help them. Just more bodies for the fucking med centre. He was a skinny fucker, Cy Collingwood. But a devil, Mr. Hare. A real fucking devil. On the 3rd night, we come with all our stuff. "This is our room now, lads," we say through the masks. "Give us the keys."
And they did?
They did.
Why didn't they call the guardroom or report you or something. Moses raises his eyebrows.
Just wasn't fucking done like that, not in them days. It was all brawls and kangaroo courts. Wild West.
I'd have drowned in a world like that. I'd have been bullied into the ground.
Some people surprise you. I was 8 stone wringing wet when I joined up. I don't reckon anyone thought I'd be the black-hearted bastard I am now.
Baptism of fire.
What happened to Si?
I'll tell you that another time. Now that I'm feeling nice and vicious, seems like a perfect moment for Operation Re-Education. What's Operation Re-Education, you ask?
Said Moses with theatrical cheer.
Well, here's a parcel for Lance Corporal Robinson from his loving wife.
He held up 3 paperbacks.
Crisis 4 by Andy McNabb. The unintentionally hilarious How to Win the Lottery by Professor Smith. And my personal favourite, The White Power Manifesto by Andrew B. Ames.
The White Power Manifesto?
We work in an organisation just racist enough for a fat Nazi to be confident having that sent to him and then openly reading it.
I didn't want to think about that, so I opened How to Win the Lottery instead and turned to a random page. Using our special balance wheel, a scientifically determined mathematical formula determines exactly what numbers are most likely to win in combination with other numbers. This revolutionary blueprint is guaranteed to win, and it's the foolproof secret they don't want you to know. Moses took Crisis 4 and ripped out the last 5 pages. Then he took the White Power Manifesto and stuck in some new pages over the top with a Pritt stick. What are you doing, Staff?
Putting in pages from better books. Today's selection includes So You Want to Talk About Race and White Fragility. And maybe, just maybe, our little Hitler will read a few lines before he realises. Hell, he's so mince, I think he might read the whole thing.
Why did you rip out the last 5 pages of the Andy McNabb book? Moses looked at me.
Because Robinson is a cunt,
he said. Well, yeah.
You know why I'm doing this?
I had a pretty good idea. Everyone on camp knew, to be honest. Because Robinson said to WO2 Manvura that Negroes shouldn't be allowed to be officers.
Who?
You know, black people.
That wasn't the word he used, was it, Master Hare?
No, Staff.
And what happened to Robinson after he said that? In an open classroom where the whole squadron could hear. Charged, perhaps? Off to military prison? Surely at the very least he had his rank took off him.
I heard he did some equality and diversity refresher training.
He had to watch a video. As a punishment for a racist slur to a serving warrant officer. As the consequence of openly professing racist views and undermining the authority of every ethnic minority soldier or officer in Her Majesty's forces.
I'm sorry, I said.
It was Captain Jones that stepped in, young Simon. And they don't come worse than him. That is the biggest heap of stupid, ignorant, bigoted, racist fucking turd on this God's earth. You wouldn't believe the number of arseholes he's helped and heroes he's hindered in his career. And I do include myself in that number.
I thought about Captain Jones. He screamed in my face the other day.
Oh, guaranteed he did worse than that. You know he made Mills take an English comprehension test, 'cause his mum, mark you his mum, not him, was born in the Philippines. He's filth. You know he calls black people badgers. That's his little fucking code. Thinks he's a genius.
I don't know.
So yeah, I'll ruin Robinson's books. I'll put a photo of Martin Luther King in the middle of his bag of Haribo. And he better hope to the good Lord that his wife don't be sending him no fucking toothpaste.
He scowled. I tried to lighten the mood. So you're like Batman?
Dark Knight. Not the hero the army needs. Probably the one it deserves.
Will you get in trouble if it gets traced back to you, though, Staff?
Don't you worry about me, Hare. That will not be an issue, said Moses.